Most people are so engrossed and focused, but they are focused on the negative parts and they are pushing themselves into deep depression. Yes, it is intense focus. The focus is flowing seamlessly, which is the definition of dharana and dhyana. Maybe they are even going into a state of pure absorption of samadhi, but on negativity, on self-pity, on self-loathing, on self-hate. And that is why one has to be very careful, because today people are marketing meditation, yoga as the panacea for everything. It is not. There are a lot of people who have mental health issues who I would advise not to be taught to focus too much, because they will choose to focus on the negativity. Until and unless you can change that Pratipaksha Bhavanam and change them from that, please do not. Because if somebody already hates themselves and you start to teach them meditative techniques, they end up having a more powerful mind to hate themselves even more. And this is why the techniques of yoga themselves, one has to realize, are very powerful. Swamiji used to often say that yoga makes you better at whatever you are. So he said, if you're a thief, you become a better thief. When he said yoga here, he means the techniques of yoga. Because the techniques of yoga strengthen you. They are not changing. The technique doesn't change you. It is the concepts and principles that actually bring about a transformation. If you stand on your head all the time, and you are not focused on anything but just the physical aspect of standing on your head, you are just going to strengthen whatever is there. But when you realize standing on your head is a way to change your perspective of life, and that becomes part of your standing on your head, then it can change you. And this is why the techniques of yoga, without the philosophy, without the psychology, without the spirituality, can be dangerous in a lot of situations. And this is why somebody who has a criminal tendency, you teach him Hatha Yoga and Pranayama, becomes stronger to fulfill his criminal tendencies. And this is why the Yama Niyama, this is why the Pratipaksha Bhavanam, this is why the Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam, this is why all of these concepts are part of yoga. The concepts are not different than the yoga techniques, but today, and I think I'm continuing from where we started this morning with cultural misappropriation and appreciation, the biggest problem is this separation. And as Priya Verma, who was there, made a comment in the chat, what about what's happening in yoga research? Yoga research has a huge amount of cultural misappropriation of yoga, if you look at it actually. Because in order to be scientific, in order to be secular, in order to be seen to be objective, you are just stripping the whole soul and the heart out of the body and just keeping the skeleton, and then saying yoga can reduce your blood pressure and blood sugar, and so yoga is good for you. Is that yoga or is it something else? Anyway, this is not the context, but I'm just putting it back here that please remember that Swadhyaya shouldn't be an opportunity to kill yourself. Then it is not Swadhyaya. Then it is Himsa. And that is why you cannot take one of the Yama Niyama away from the rest. You cannot practice Satya without Ahimsa. You cannot practice Ahimsa without Saucha, which is the Niyama. You cannot practice Tapa without Ahimsa and Satya. They are all intertwined. And that is why today, in order to be truthful, we are becoming violent. You have a lot of people who think they are speaking the truth, but they are actually being violent. All the components have to come together. And this is why when we talk about the seven, there's a lot of Swadhyaya, there's a lot of introspection. But introspection, Swadhyaya, is not self-flogging. What is it to be part of? Again, go back to Patanjali. Why is it important to understand what Superman Pat keeps on saying? What does he say? Your abhyasa has to be satkara. Your dedicated, disciplined, continuous, uninterrupted, firm, foundation-based practice has to be geared towards the higher evolutionary growth. Satkara. Otherwise, it is not abhyasa. It may be there based for a long time, but if it is not geared for the higher purpose. And so if you are practicing Swadhyaya, but you are only flogging yourself about my nose is too big, my ears are too small, my chin protrudes, my hair is gone white, I am no good, look at others around me, they have a better life. That's not Swadhyaya. That is violence against the self. So don't try to say, oh yeah, I'm having a hard look at myself. Maybe it's not a hard look. Maybe you are engaging in sadomasochism of another type. Swadhyaya should result in you understanding that you are that highest Ishvara. Then it is Swadhyaya. Dharana Dhyana Samadhi should lead you to a realization of who we truly are. That Ishvara itself, that Paramatma itself, that Parabrahman itself. Then it is Dharana Dhyana Samadhi. If you end up saying, yeah, I am the worst person on earth and my life is the worst that has ever been there, that's not Swadhyaya. Now, it doesn't mean you don't acknowledge your faults. Yes, take a hard look at yourself. I'm not saying don't take a hard look, but don't condemn yourself. Ammaji used to give this beautiful message. She said, observe yourself without identification. Observe yourself without identification, without condemnation, and without justification. Observe yourself without identification, without condemnation, and without justification. That is Swadhyaya. What do we do? Me. Half the well has already been dug. I am so bad. Nothing is good. Everything is bad. My life is a mess. People around me are a mess. Why did God give birth to me? Condemnation. And then I am like this because my parents were not good. I am like this because my teacher is not good. I am like this because I don't have a better guru than Dr. Ananda. I am like this because, I am stuck with this Yantra course for which I paid. And so I have to sit here and listen to all this nonsense from this guy. Justification. I would be better off if I had a different guru. I would be better off if I had a better husband. I would be better off with a better wife. I would be better off. If I were not born here, I would be. If not for you, look at what I would be, because I'm married to you, because I'm born to you, because I have given birth to you, because I live next door to you. And what do? Dig that hole deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And then even if somebody wants to help us, and that is why Swadhyaya is taking a hard look at yourself, not a harsh look. There's a beautiful verse that Amma used to also talk about from, I believe it was Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi. Yajnavalkya was this rishi. He had two wives, Maitreyi and Gargi. And there are a lot of debates between this rishi and the rishikas and rishi patnis. And don't let people tell you, India had a male domination and all that. We had the most amazing rishikas and rishi patnis. We had in South India, ICYER, who is one of the greatest women who has given us the greatest teachings and put on par. In fact, ICYER is the one who helps Thiruvalluvar to bring his Thirukural, which is today the great, we call it as our Tamil Veda. And the Thirukural, the Tamil scholars of that time were saying this is not in proper Tamil, and they were dismissing it. And it is ICYER who suggested, no, give him a chance to prove it, and he proved that it was worthy of all the other literature at that time. That is the type of woman we had. And there's a discussion between Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi. which Amma used to often say. Love the husband, not for being the husband, but for the divine that manifests through the husband. Love the wife, not because it is the wife, but the divine who manifests through the wife. There's a whole beautiful section he talks about this. You are relating to the person because there's a divinity that is coming through that person. Which is why in our culture, when we greeted somebody, it was, I bow to the divine in you. The divine in me bows to the divine in you. We acknowledge each other. You know, whenever people would say hello to Swamiji, he said, don't tell me hello. They said, why Swamiji? He said, when you say hello, I hear it as hell below you. Hell is below you, hello. So he said, don't say hello to me. Namaste, namaskar, vanakkam. Vanakkam is again that vananga in rain. I am bowing to the divine in you. The divine in me is bowing to him. I acknowledge. I'm not saying you bow to me. That is the colonial supremacy that comes with privilege. Power and privilege. Today, they are talking of these terms. All of that comes from that. Humility. Because I used to always have confusion with the statement, the meek shall inherit the earth. I believe it's from the Bible, if I'm not wrong. The meek shall inherit the earth. And I used to get confused because I understood it as the weak. And I'm like, why did they say that the weak will inherit the earth? That doesn't sound right to me. And then I realized meek is the ones who have humility, who have the heart to be gracious, the ones who are there to serve for the sake of humanity. They are the blessed ones. And that is why it is very different. Today we think it is the strong who will rule the earth. Don't let introspection bog you down. Introspection should be the key towards moving forward.